Complaints against homeowner associations have become so common in this state, the Department of Consumer Affairs says it's the biggest growing category of all the reports they get. I'm 7 News consumer anchor Diane Lee, and in this exclusive, I looked into how people can resolve many of these disputes before they get too heated.
This was where I had my flagpole originally at.
As a veteran who worked for months to clean up Ground Zero after 9/11 and fought for years in Afghanistan.
I lost 22 of my brothers in Afghanistan. Excuse me.
Michael Edge never imagined the battle he would face on his home turf.
I don't understand how my country can ask me to go to a foreign country and ask me to help people live the dream of freedom. Then I come here and 7 members of a homeowner association takes away my freedom.
It all started in 2018 when Edge was fined by the Glen Lake HOA in Boiling Springs for erecting this flagpole in his front yard.
I was ticked because I couldn't understand what's so offensive about flying the American flag.
As the fines added up and Edge refused to pay or take down the flagpole, the HOA threatened to put a lien on his home, so he took it down. But in 2022, he learned about the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act, which forbids HOAs from preventing its members from flying the flag. He put it back up with steel rods, and then
I knew the wind didn't blow it down because this is 50 pounds.
Edge says someone tore down the flagpole, and he filed this sheriff's office report.
You can always negotiate with the HOA.
Attorney James Stone Craven has handled many HOA cases from both sides, so we asked him to weigh in. Do the HOA covenants supersede state or federal law?
So no, they can't prevent him from flying it. It's the way he's flying it that they're probably taking issue with. Technically, if he brought this issue before the court, federal law would trump. And he may, if he'd done so, won.
In a statement, the Glen Lake HOA board president, also a veteran, told 7 News in part, this issue was never about the flag or someone's right to fly it. It was always about our duty to uphold the Glen Lake of the upstate governing documents.
Well, I didn't want anything really big.
Around the same time, Simpsonville resident Kim Hicks had been dealing with her own HOA issue after she built a memorial garden for her daughter Kelsey, who she says died in 2022 from fentanyl poisoning.
She was the love of my life, and this has been the most devastating thing in the world, and I just needed a place to be able to go and talk to her.
The Neely Farm HOA cited bylaws that forbid structures or planting or landscaping without approval and told her to take it down.
I felt like my daughter's spirit was already there and I wasn't going to move it. So I requested a meeting with the Homeowners Association, and they did agree to let me keep the garden where it was.
That is, as long as she repainted and hid the bright colors, a resolution that Hicks appreciated. However, she had also put up this little library on her property, and for that, Hicks was hit with dozens of $50 a day fines.
I thought I was doing the community a service by providing information on fentanyl awareness and hopefully saving some lives.
Those fines and legal fees totaled nearly $4,500. Plus, Hicks had a lien on her property and a threat of foreclosure. Can an HOA foreclose on your home?
They're going to have a difficult time. Most people have mortgages. Most mortgage companies are not going to allow someone to foreclose upon their home.
Still, Craven says finding that lien before the 30-day deadline is crucial, or you'll have to pay up at some point, especially when you sell the house. To avoid legal fees, read the bylaws before making any changes to the exterior of your property. You can also file a free complaint with the Department of Consumer Affairs. But if the violation is in your covenants, you're likely out of luck. Neely Farms HOA declined to comment, but 7 News has learned they're considering Hicks's request to reduce the hefty fines. Meanwhile, Glen Lake HOA, who for years forbid flagpoles, has recently adopted an ordinance they say is in compliance with federal and state law, but still requires prior approval. Edge is now choosing instead to fly the flag at his second home outside the neighborhood.
They wanted me to ask them permission to fly the American flag, and so I'm not going to do that.
Now, if you have issues with your HOA, keep in mind, while rules are rules, the board can compromise, and the best way to accomplish that is to respond to complaints with a little humility and meet them in the middle. It could save you headaches and legal fees. For a link to file a complaint with Consumer Affairs, just look for this story on WSPA.com/consumer.